Hello everyone. Today I'm going to demonstrate to you how we can scrape data from the internet and use Power Query to present it back to us so that we can understand the data that's available to us that little bit better. The example I'm going to show you is around something called ParkRun. Now, ParkRun do 5k runs on a weekly basis, and they publish the results on their website. So this is the ParkRun logo, and this is an example of a runner and their last 10 results. So here is the spreadsheet that this is the final version of the spreadsheet. So what we're looking at are two runners, Mills and Smith. We can see these are all of their results, and as we have a pivot chart, we can see their results compared to each other. The Power Query part of things is shown on this tab, where we can see the results of Mills and Smith. So if I would like to put an extra runner into the mix, then what I need to do is just, here's one I prepared earlier bit, copy that, paste it in here, and what we can see is that the table has now updated so that we've got 3 rows. So what we would then do is we hit the refresh all, and what that will do is it will refresh this table here. So if I hit refresh all, or literally right click refresh, what we'll see is on the right hand side it's going off to the internet, and it's going to pull the last 10 results for each of the 3 competitors. So we'd expect roughly 30. That would depend on whether or not they've actually run 10 times, as they have in this case. But if we go back onto this sheet, the pivot table hasn't updated, and that's quite normal in this case. So if we do a second refresh all, then the pivot table updates and the pivot chart updates, and we can see the performances of the individuals against each other. So what we can see is that, well, they're not necessarily running at the same time, and we can see that Madison and Smith have got very, very similar times. I guess if we change the scale of the graph, that might reveal itself to be a bit clearer. So that's the mechanics of how we use the spreadsheet. What I will say is that in order for people using Excel 2016, they will be able to use this spreadsheet straight away. But people using Excel 2013 will need to download the Power Query add-in, and I'll include a link to that as part of this exercise. So now I'm going to start moving on to the mechanics of how it all works. This particular exercise demonstrates a number of key aspects of the Power Query functionality. Firstly, it's around web scraping, because we've clearly taken we've taken information from the internet. Secondly, it demonstrates how we transform data. And thirdly, it demonstrates the use of functions within Power Query. So to begin with, I'll just look at I'm going to show you how the runners and times query works. This is the results of the runners and times function, and if we move on to the edit of that, I'll talk you through how it behaves itself. So we've just gone on to here, hit the edit button, So first off, the source is the table of the three runners. That's the source. If you're familiar with Power Query, then you'll know that it quite often changes types and so on. So it's changed type. So this is, as it happens, this is an ABC, but in this case, it's not a problem. I then went on to add a custom column, which is relatively advanced, but actually, if you look through the interface, it's not unbelievably advanced. So I'm just going to pull this up. So this is the function that I created. It takes a parameter. The parameter is this runner PRID. It is the ParkRun ID number. So you got 1813995, and if you look on here, this is 1813995. So if we return back to it, if you were to look at the function, you would see that essentially it just creates a URL that we can then poll to get the data out of. So we then expand this. It's just through this routine here. Expand it so that we get all the fields and all the data. There's a bit more changing of type going on. I start to remove some columns that I don't need. I do some messing around with this age grade thing, but I've changed my mind about that, so I'll replace the value, takes away the percentage. I then move on to changing the type. Then I add a custom column, and in this case, if I show you how I add the custom column, essentially it is quotes 00 colon quotes and time, so it's putting in this time here, and the reason I've done that is that I can then change the type, and so it moves to a time field, and what then happens is we no longer need the time field anymore. Goodbye time field. And it's very simple to add a column which is associated with time, because all you do is you hit time and then minute and second, and that's how the minute and the second have been added in. And finally I add a custom column which is the minutes decimalized. So it's I've got the minutes plus the seconds divided by 60, and the whole lot gets rounded to 2 decimal places. And the final part of the exercise is that I remove the columns that I no longer need. So and then when we go back to home and we go close and load, hey presto, we have the table that is used in the analysis page. So the next part that I'm going to show you is just demonstrating how the function works itself. So if I just literally talk you through this, essentially if I go onto the edit of the function, it will possibly ask for a parameter at this point. They would normally, yeah, it's asking for a parameter, and I'm gonna pass in this parameter up here. If I hit invoke, then essentially it's just returning this web page, but all it's really doing is I'm going to come off this and I'm going to exit out of that. It's probably I'm going to discard the changes because I don't really need it, and I'm going to show you the editing of the function. It can be a little bit tricky to see how the functions are actually operating. If I go onto the advanced editor, what's happening under the bonnet is this piece here is me saying that I need a runner ID, and that whatever is in there will get used here. So if we can see that it's going to be all of this text here plus the runner ID. So hopefully, this took me a long time to get a good grasp of how it works, but I think I'm reasonably close to being there now. So I'm going to put I'm going to go cancel out of that, and I want to cancel out of this, and we're back where we started. Now hopefully that's given you some kind of sense as to how to use functions and web scraping and transforming data, and that it's a sort of mildly amusing way in which to make use of Power Query. If you have any questions, drop me a note, and if you have any other interesting data exercises that you'd like to have a look at, you could also drop me a note. Thanks very much, and I'll see you soon.